So whatever values are given in the data, based on that, we can calculate the arithmetic mean. There are two types of arithmetic average. One is the simple arithmetic average and second one is the weighted arithmetic average. So whatever the values are given in the data, you add up all the values and divide it by n, we get the mean value. Hello everyone, I am Purnima, faculty in the Department of Commerce and Management, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. I welcome you all to this session. In this session on Unit 2, we will be having a discussion on measures of central tendency. Now, what do we mean by measures of central tendency and what are the various measures of central tendency? So that we will be learning in this session. Now, what is this central tendency? So, central tendency means it refers to the averages. Now, what are the various three averages here? The important averages are the mean, median and the mode. So, let us have a look at what do we mean by average and what are the averages. Now, average is a representation of the marks scored in all the subjects. Suppose I ask any student what is his result in the previous exam. So, he will say it is 73%, 78%, 83%. Like that. So, what does this 73, 83 denote? It denotes the average marks he has scored in all the subjects. But if he just tells me that I have scored so many marks in this subject, so it does not give me any meaning. So, unless he calculates the average, I will not be able to assess what his IQ is. So, averages is a representation of the result. Now, let us have a look into functions of the average. Now, in the functions of an average, to facilitate quick understanding of complex data. So, whatever is the complex data, we will be able to understand with the help of the average. Then, to facilitate comparison. So, when I ask these two students, what is the result of your previous exam? They may say, one may say that he has scored 80%, the other one may say that he has scored 90%. So, this comparison between the two students is possible because of the average. Then, to know about the universe from a sample. So, the averages, they are a representation of the universe. So, in other words, if a student has scored 90%, that means that this 90% has been derived from his score of all the 6 subjects. So, there is a representation of all the 6 subjects in this 90%, which is called as the average. Then, to help in decision making. So, this averages, they always help in decision making. So, what is this decision making? So, we will be able to know what is the result of the experiment. So, if the result is around 90% and above, we feel that whatever experiment we have done, it is a success. But then, if the results are very low, around 30 to 40%, then we will understand that the result of our experiment has failed. So, it will help us in further decision making, whether we should go ahead with the experiment or not. So, that we have to decide. Then, to establish mathematical relationship. Now, these averages, they help in establishing mathematical relationships. Now, what are mathematical relationships? So, this mean, median and mode, they are all interrelated, and based on this mean, median and mode, we have various other statistical techniques which will help us to find a correlation between the variables. So, this will help any researcher in his analysis of any of the subjects. So, he can draw a correlation between any of the 2 variables for which he has been collecting the data. Next, what are the characteristics of a typical average? So, the characteristics are, it should be rigidly defined so that there is no confusion with regard to its meaning or connotation. So, whenever an average is calculated, it should be rigidly defined. We should know exactly what is the average represents. So, it cannot be something which is uncertain. Then it should be easy to understand. So, whenever we calculate an average, it should be easy to understand. Then next one is it should be simple to compute. So it is very easy to compute the averages. You just add all the numbers and divide it by the number of values you have added, you get the average. Then its definition should be in the form of a mathematical formula. So we have the mathematical formula. What is the mathematical formula? Sigma x divided by n. Then it should be based on all the items in the data. So whatever the data we have, so it should be a representation of all the items, and it should not be unduly influenced by any single item or a group of items. So there should be no influence of any one of the items of the group. Then it should be capable of further algebraic treatment. That is, whenever you calculate an average, based on that average, we can also calculate various other statistical values. So it may be the deviations, the Q1, Q2, Q3, or we can also have the standard deviation. We can also have the coefficient of variation. So all these statistical tools are possible when we calculate the average. Then it should be capable of being used in other further statistical computation, and it should have sampling stability. So sampling stability means the result should be based on all the values. Only then we can say that the average has sampling stability. Now next, the following are the important types of average. Now let us have a look into what are the various types of averages. Now the first average, we call it as the arithmetic mean. Now in this arithmetic mean, it refers to the average which we calculate. So whether it is the values only when x values are given, or whether it is the discrete series, or whether it is the continuous series. So whatever values are given in the data, based on that we can calculate the arithmetic mean. Now in this arithmetic mean, we have two types. One is the simple mean and second one is the weighted mean. Now what is this simple mean? So you just you just add up all the values given, divided by the number of values, we get the simple mean. Whereas the weighted mean represents the weights given to each of the values. So when along with the weights we are given the frequencies. So based on the importance given to the weights of the values, so we will be able to calculate the weighted mean. The next one is the median. So what does this median mean? Median is that value which divides the entire set of values into two equal parts, or it is the middlemost value of the given data. So whatever the data is given, so the middlemost point or the middlemost position of the data is called as the mean. And the last one is the mode. Now what is the mode? Mode is any value which has the highest frequency. So all this mean, median and mode, they are together referred to as measures of central tendency. We see that all these measures, whether it is the mean, median or mode, they all just center around a particular point. So the mean, median and mode, they will always be the central point of the given data, and they will be referring by a very small number. So they will be differing. Suppose the mean is around 49.7, then median may be 50, mode also will be around 50 or 51. So they all cluster around a central point of the data. So that is why we call them as the measures of central tendency. Then we have the geometric mean and also the harmonic mean. But for the syllabus, we don't have this geometric mean and harmonic mean. For this syllabus, whatever has been prescribed for the third SEM BBA students, it is just the arithmetic mean, median and mode. So we will just concentrate on these aspects only. Now going to what do we mean by arithmetic mean? Arithmetic mean average is also called as the mean. So this mean or average, as we call in the common language, we call it as the average, but then in the statistical language it is called as the mean. It is the most common type and widely used measure of central tendency. So this kind of a mean or average, it is most commonly used by everybody. So it is very simple to calculate, easy to understand, and also it is a good representation of the values which is given. So arithmetic average of a series is the figure obtained by dividing the total value of the various items by their number. Suppose I am given a number 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So these numbers are given to me. Now if I have to calculate the arithmetic mean of this, so how do I calculate? So I add all the values 10 plus 20 plus 30 plus 40 plus 50 plus 60. So when I add all these values, it comes up to 150 plus 60, 210. So the total is 210. Now what is the number of values? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6. So what will be the answer? So this will be 35 is the arithmetic mean or average. Yes. So 6 3s are 18. So 3 is remaining. 6 5s are 30. So 35 is the average of all these values, or these values are represented by this number 35. That is the average value we get when we add all the values given in the data. Next, there are two types of arithmetic average. One is the simple arithmetic average and second one is the weighted arithmetic average. Now, what is this simple arithmetic average and what is this weighted arithmetic average? Now, in the simple arithmetic average, we have the individual observation. So, individual observation means we are just given values and based on this, we have to calculate the mean. So, in this, the direct method. So, what is this direct method? Arithmetic mean is frequently referred to simply as the mean, and we talk about such values as mean income, mean tonnage, mean marks, etc. as opposed to certain other averages which are found in terms of the position in the series. The mean has to be computed by taking every value in the series into consideration. Now, this arithmetic mean becomes the most popular average which is being calculated. Now, compared to the median or a mode, so the mean takes into consideration all the values which are given in the data. So, that is why the mean is the most common value which we use. Then, referring to the median, median refers to the centralmost point of the data. So, there is a position in the data which is most central to the data. So, that central position we call it as the median, and then we have the mode here. So, the mode is that value which has the highest frequency. So, the value which has the highest frequency is called as the mode. Now, compared to these two, the mean is most used everywhere. So, this is the most popular average which is used by most of the people. Now, how do we calculate the mean? Add up all the values of variable x and find out sigma x. Divide the sigma x by the number of observation. So, here we have mean equals. So, if I take the x values as x1, x2, x3, x4 up to xn, so divided by n, I get the mean value. So, whatever the values are given in the data, you add up all the values and divide it by n, we get the mean value. Sigma x is the sum of variables, n is the number of observations. Now, calculate mean from the following data. So, we have the following data here. So, totally 10 values are given here and we have been given the number of marks also. So, n equals 10 and sigma x. So, when we add up all the marks, I get 540. So, n is 10. So, how many values I have got? I have got the marks of 10 students. So, n equals 10. The total marks of 10 students is 540. So, when I divide it, I get 54. which is the average marks of the 10 students. Then next one is the shortcut method. So the arithmetic mean can also be calculated by the shortcut method. So what is the shortcut method? Tell us. So first step is assume any one values as assumed mean, which is known as the arithmetic mean or the arbitrary average. So when you are given a set of values, suppose I say 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So these are the values. So I can take any one of the values as the assumed mean. So I can assume any one of the values as assumed mean. Now find out the difference of each value from the assumed mean. Now if I consider 3 as the assumed mean, then I have to minus all the values from 3. 1 minus 3 equals 2. 2 minus 3 equals minus 1. 3 minus 3 equals 0. 4 minus 3 equals 1. 5 minus 3 equals 2. So in this way, I have to find the difference between the x and the assumed mean. Then add all the deviations. So whatever is the difference, I add all the deviations. Then we apply the formula. What is the formula here? Mean equals a plus or minus sigma d divided by n, where x bar denotes the arithmetic mean, a denotes the assumed mean, sigma d the sum of the deviations, and n denotes the number of items. So in this way, whenever we are given the values, we can always consider the assumed mean and find out the arithmetic mean value. So here in this problem, we have the marks given of 10 students. So the marks are 40, 50, 55, 78, 58, 60, 73, 35, 43, 48. Now, if I have to find the arithmetic mean with the help of assumed mean, so I can consider any one of the values as assumed mean. So assume mean be 50. So we say that this 50 is the assumed mean, or a equals 50. Now we have to find out the d values. Now what is this d value? X minus 50. So what are the x values here? 40. So these are the x values. So 40 minus 50. So 40 minus 50 is minus 10. 50 minus 50 is 0. 55 minus 50 is 5. 78 minus 50 is 28. 8, 10, 23, minus 15, 7, minus 2. So when you add all the positive values, subtract all the negative values, we get the answer as sigma d equals 40. Now here I substitute the values in the formula here. So a equals 50 plus 40 by 10. So when I substitute this, so when I simplify this, I get the answer as 54. So mean equals 54. So this is how you just calculate the arithmetic mean in the shortcut method. Then with this, we come to the end of this session. Hope you have all followed. Thank you.